is green, and I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man, as we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights, as we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more failing, telling, being beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I wasn't part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. And if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising, yeah.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. Shalom, everyone. Those that observe Yom Shabbat, as a Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And again, shalom to those of you that don't. Today is going to be a little different. Right now, me and my Isha is at a Cry Aloud conference out here in North Carolina. We visited Slick Eye. We visited to be a part, to network, to fellowship, and we're also going to be bringing song to the people on today, maybe tomorrow as well, but definitely for Shabbat. And I wanted to make sure that we went live because the only time that we don't go live or have a lesson on Yom Shabbat, especially for the people, is on the third Yom Shabbat, or the third Saturday. But today is not the third Saturday, so I wanted to make sure I came on. It'll just be me for today, and it's going to be a little different than we normally do it, right? We normally come on and I'll open up with a song, and then we'll do some scriptural readings. My Isha will open up with a song, things like that. We'll go into prayer. But we're going to do a little different today. Today's lesson is perfect people make some noise. Perfect people make some noise. This isn't to, make anyone feel a certain type of way. It was put on me really to speak on this today. You all hear me talk about it often, about blameless and things of that nature, but I never really go into it. In this lesson, it'll be an element for you to get an understanding of what Beit Mazan Ministries belief system is as it pertains to our people, as it pertains to the culture and the understanding of Bene Israel, or the text, first century understanding, even going back all the way to Moshe. So that's what today is going to be about. So what I want to do, I'm only going to read a few scriptures from the 7 scriptures that we normally read, because I do want to make sure that I put that out. I open up a prayer and we're going to go right into it, because it shouldn't, I always say this, it shouldn't be a long lesson. It can't be. We have to get to Shabbat again. For those that's tuning in right now, we're in North Carolina at the Cry Aloud conference. And I just wanted to make sure I came live and brought something for the people. This is going to be a tough one if you have your children around you, and you teach us a certain understanding in your home. My approach. Our approach. So I'm always going to bring it out balanced. I'm not going to be on no attack mode or anything like that. I'm going to bring some nuggets out to make us think. So it won't be something that you got to remove your children. But I don't ever want to step over the home and the home's understanding. We never want to do that. Even if we come and we teach before a congregation, we always bring a message that's kind of help us think. So this message should still do that. It should still do that, but it will be an element of information that you may know or you may not know. The purpose is to get us back. Every messenger, woman, man of the Most High, it was to bring us back to the understanding, back to our pre-exilic understanding, not post-exilic understanding. There are some great men, and I'm going to get into this too, but there are some great men and some great women that were a part of a system or a people that were influenced, and in their current understanding, they learned and understood the principles prior to them, but didn't grasp the culture fully. But they still was looked at as righteous men and women bringing stuff before the people, so that the influence was still within their message. I think we don't understand that. I think a lot of us, well, I don't know who does and who doesn't. All right. But from what I can see, many of us leave that out if we do understand it. Many of us. I want to say we don't, but I don't know everyone. Okay. So today we're about to get into it. It's 9:58 a.m. Eastern Standard. My goal is to be done by 11:15. We have to head out to the Cry Loud conference here in New York with Moya Benaya, or Douglas, a lot of other Maureen that I'm just meeting in person. A lot of them know who we are. We know who they are. So I'm excited for the fellowship. It was pretty cool yesterday, and we're getting into it today. But let's go. I'm going to read a few scriptures, and then we're going to get into it. So we normally do 7 scriptures before any live teaching and things of that nature, and then we do it on our own. Let's go. Proverbs 11:1 says, "A false balance is an abomination to Yah, but a just weight is his delight." What I'm trying to bring you all today is a more balanced understanding of the cultural way of how we live and what we thought, right? This is coming from us to you all. I'm trying to bring that because Most High says a false balance is an abomination. It goes with everything. It even goes with our understanding of what he's producing and suggesting and commanding us to do. A false balance is abomination. That's kind of harsh, right? It comes off as harsh. Well, wait, are you saying that the Most High deems me to be abominable because I may not understand this? No. We're going to get into the next scripture that's going to kind of open the door in that answer that question for you next, okay? But I want to put out that a false balance is an abomination. So any of us leaders or teachers that's teaching, if we're not being balanced in our approach, that's problematic. We can force people to not understand and grasp it correctly. Everyone is not on where you are. That doesn't mean you're over them, right? Bnei Yisrael is supposed to be a light to the nations. Does that mean we're greater, we're better, no, that's not what it means. That means we're supposed to be servants to the other nations, not from a standpoint like chattel slavery. I ain't talking about that, but to show them the will of the Most High, to show them the ways of the Most High, to show them how to serve the Most High. And we're supposed to do that with each other. But let's get into it because I don't want to lose you. I really want you all to get this message we're about to get into. So false balance is an abomination to the Most High, Proverbs 11:1. We're not going to read the second scripture. We're going to go to the third one. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, but Yah said to Shemuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Most High Yah sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but Yah looks on the heart. This is an amazing scripture. This doesn't mean we could all use it and be like, well, you can't judge me. The Most High sees my heart. And then you're not even living what the Most High is telling you. That's not what it's saying. Shemuel was going to get anoint a new king due to Shaul, what he did and didn't do. And when he went before this family, and there was a person that was missing. But he saw this individual that with a great stature looked like he was going to be the one to be the king. And Moses said, don't look on the appearance, right? I look within. So David was the one that was picked. And I'm attaching it to what I'm saying now. So if I'm saying the false balance is an abomination to the Most High, and you may not have a full grasp of what this cultural understanding is, that's not saying that you are abominable. Okay, if your heart and everything is geared towards serving the Most High from what your understanding is, from where your knowledge is, then you are okay. All right, shalom, shalom, achot. This is gonna be a touchy lesson. It's only gonna be about an hour and 15, but it's gonna be touchy. So be prepared. Don't have the little ones too close. But our approach. I'm going to approach it in a good way. I'm not going to beat anybody up or anything like that. All right, so I just wanted to read a few scriptures from it. Let's read Joshua 24:2, one of my favorites. Of course, you all know. Now, therefore, fear the Most High Yah and serve him in sincerity and in faithfulness, or in consistency, right? Because a lot of us have the sincerity idea in our mind, but we don't commit. We're not committed. That's been the case with B'nai Yisrael, or children of Israel, for many, many years, many, many centuries. We've been this way, right? It says, put away the deities that your fathers served beyond the river and in Mitzrayim or Egypt, and serve Yah. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Most High, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the deities your fathers served in the region of beyond the river, or the deities in the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yah. This has to be the forefront, you all. No matter what, that's the goal. Serve, serve, serve. So what I'm bringing this out to you all, challenge the information. Study, research, understand. Open your mind. Right? The topic is perfect people make some noise. We're very afraid of this, but it's an understanding that we had pre-exilically, and it was an understanding even post-exilic by those that was truly set apart in understanding the Most High's will. Everyone didn't have it in the first century and beyond in 2025 either. Most of us do not have this understanding that I'm about to bring out. It's not like I brought it out. It's not like I created it. I'm sure it's people way before me that had this understanding. Pre-exilic is the way. The Most High is the way, first and foremost. But when I say pre-exilic, it was a lot of influence. Some of you just coming in now, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. This is a lesson that you want to share. And I'm talking too much. I need to hurry up. We're at the Cry Loud conference right now, but I wanted to make sure that we went live so you could have something, right? All right, let's go ahead and go. Let's get into it. All right. So perfect people make some noise. Why is this title here? We often talk about sin a lot. We often speak on everyone sinning. It is a scripture I forgot to put in my notes, but I'll just go off the top with that one. But we often talk about those things, but we miss a lot as it pertains to culture. So I'm going to start off by bringing up a few people and getting you all to provoke your thought on this topic, right? Everyone sins. That's what it's taught. Everyone sins. It's also taught that no one's perfect. we'll get into it. So let's go. We're going to start with Yehoshua. Today I'll be more so talking. I'll bring out scripture here and there. I'm not going to post. I'm going to talk. But I want you all to think, all right? So one of the people that I like to bring up is Yehoshua. Yehoshua was the successor of Moshe, a faithful leader with no fault recorded in the biblical narrative. There was no fault recorded with Yehoshua. None. It didn't say sinned, wicked, anything. It is no place in the scripture that we can read that Yehoshua ben Nun, Joshua sinned. Not one place. Why is it important that I'm bringing that out? We're taught here in 2025 by most teachers, even people within our community. We remove, or we are afraid to take on the mantle of being blameless. One of the reasons is because we care too much about what other people think. We should, as it pertains to a community that's covenantal based. If you have men and women that you are within a covenant with, those are the individuals outside of the Most High first that you should care about what they think of you. Anyone outside of that, you shouldn't, because a person is going to think what they think about you regardless. Moses or Moshe, people thought he wasn't fit after he brought them out. They wanted to kill him. Individuals that truly in their heart didn't make a covenant with him. They was just there. Covenant is different than just coming amongst people and we're saying we're brothers and we're sisters, right? We're at the Cry Aloud conference right now. I'm going to bring this up a little bit before we sing, right? We're crying out to the Most High about certain things, but our ways is far from him. Isn't that what Isaiah states? Our lips call him, but our ways is far. We call each other Achim or brothers the first day we meet each other. That isn't cultural. Now, if we say Adon, Shalom, things like that, that's cool, but we go right into the brother. And then now we don't like him because he did something right in front of us that was different. We have people in the community, like me and my Isha, I don't hug women unless you family. Ask our coach right here, my sister-in-law, how long it took me to hug her. Our coach Valaya. She'll tell you. My Isha doesn't hug men either, unless it's family, or someone that was associated of being family, a part of the family. Am I saying that's the culture? That's something we established. I do believe it was like that back then. I'm going to do more study and research on it, but today we just hug, and that's okay. I'm not knocking people that do. I'm not saying you're sinning when you're doing that, but we don't know the thoughts of the person we're hugging. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know the battles. We don't know, like, if you have some women that's more voluptuous than others, and you're putting your body parts on this man, and we're so used to it. It's culture. So we're going into this right. So Moshe was they wanted to kill him. He brought him out. The Most High used, they wanted to kill him. So we go right into that. We go right into that understanding, call him brother, and we haven't even established a true covenant with them. Okay. So Yehoshua, Joshua, the one that was under Moshe, his successor, was without sin. No sin. I know the scripture that says that, and this is the one I didn't put in my notes, that basically everyone sins. There's no man alive that doesn't sin. But it's context behind that. That doesn't mean it's a person that's sinning. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't even mean that it's a person that sins every month, every week, every year. Doesn't mean that at all either. It could be one. But I believe that doesn't apply to everyone. I believe a lot of time when the scripture is speaking from a nature of the nation, a collective. Why am I saying that? Because you have these individuals I'm about to bring out right now. You have individuals who the Most High has actually called blameless or perfect and righteous. You have that. But yet, he speaks on a broader spectrum of the nation being a certain type of way, wicked, sinful, things like that. But yet we have individuals that's looked at and called not sinful, not sinning. We have to understand culture. We have to understand context. We have to understand subject. So let's continue. So Joshua is one person in the scripture that is looked at as not sinning. Matter of fact, he's actually, and I'm going to bring this out at the end, looked at as greater than Moses. But in what way? In a way that he was obedient fully, completely. Moshe failed one time. Moses failed one time when he was disobedient. But Joshua didn't. All right, let's go to the next one. Daniel L, high-ranking official and prophet in exile. The text presents him as righteous without sin. No sin. No place is he called wicked. No place is he called even truly even doubting the Most High. And I know I'm going to have people that come in and leave, but I'm going to get to I have to go through before I get to the point. There's a pre-exilic understanding that we should be having. There's a post-exilic understanding that we have due to influences and due to even our people who put things in writing for us. They did the best that they knew how. I'll give you an example. I've been in this path for 14 years, basically. I transitioned from Christianity. And then when I transitioned from Christianity, as most of you, in that first year, you know a lot more than you ever learned knew in your life. And there's some of us that wrote a book right then and there. So we still influence in Christianity a little bit, even in your first year of being in this truth. You still have some influential things about you from Christianity that is not completely removed. Yes, you're trying to keep the laws, but you still have influence. So even though you may write a book your first year, the way that you approach it is going to be from new understanding culturally, but it's still going to have some residue of influence from where you just came from. We have to look at that. We have to understand that. But I don't believe a lot of us do. And that's okay. It's not because, we're off or wrong, we're wicked, we're sinful. No, we're doing the best we can to present to the people. And then even if you don't write a book, you bring the information to people you love, to people that you talk to, associate with, and you might not bring it culturally all the way, but you're bringing it from the understanding that you know then. Let's get back to it. I don't want to waste too much time on it. So Daniel was recorded without sin, no sin. The text does not bring it out at all. Then we get to Samuel, a judge, a prophet, a Levite, portrayed as righteous throughout his life. No sin. No sin. Shabbat Shalom, Moray. I want to make sure I stop and bring a Shabbat Shalom to Moray Yeftat. I know you may not be here this whole time because you got a congregation to teach and shed the light of the Most High too. So I'm pretty sure I'll talk with you after. But if you check this out, let me know your thoughts. But again, so we have Samuel, no sin, none. It's not brought forth. Matter of fact, even when he was learning from Eli, when he was under his tutelage, he was literally learning all the ways of the priesthood. Even so much so the Most High came and spoke with him. Now he knew the Most High, right? He was doing all the things that he was taught. We don't see anything being said wrong about him. Even before the people, he was looked at a certain type of way. All right? So we don't find anything with Samuel. Not one thing. You all won't, but I suggest you go ahead and look into yourself. Then we got Yosef. We have Joseph, right? A righteous figure who resists temptation and suffers unjustly. The text does not accuse him of wrongdoing, but we know that we could talk about him when he was with his brothers. See, this is the part that I believe culturally we don't understand when it comes to what is sinning, what is wicked, what is not. We can't put our understanding of what is wrong on there. We can. But when it comes to how the Most High looks at an individual as perfect or blameless, it's totally different from us. That's why when it says in Samuel, do not look on the appearance, because I look within. So it may be certain things that you see about an individual, a woman or a man that you may not like, and you, well, he or she is supposed to be a woman of the Most High or a man of the Most High. Look at how he dressed. Look at Joseph. Joseph thought he was too arrogant. Joseph was arrogant, just like his brothers. That's why his brothers wanted to kill him, because of what they thought him to be. But they weren't the Most High. He wasn't doing anything wrong or against his family. Now, when he brought certain things out, it was not understood. You're going to be bringing things out that people are not going to understand. People are going to watch this. Wait till I get to the end of this. People are going to watch this and be like, what is Nasik Hadashi, or Chief Prince, or Nasik talking about? See, I knew who he was, because people have been trying to figure out what is the understanding of Nasika Amuna and Nasik Shema. They come with this balanced approach. They network with each and every one of us. What is their belief? What is their understanding? Well, I'm trying to give it to you now. One of the major things is focusing on pre-exilic. I think it's one person out there that speaks on. I think Ron Shields speaks on this, divine prospect, and there's some background behind that for me to bring out. I was surprised when I took 3 years off. A teacher of mine, when I came into the truth, I started at IOG, Israel of God, under Brother Bowie. He used to always say, after 3 years, if you all are still here, and that's what I was seeing. I was seeing people that have been in it for a while, no shot at them, still asking the same questions. So I took that time after my 3rd year in this walk, and I met a couple men. One named Darrell. He go by Darrell. Right now, he's a hip hop artist and from Yehudi Gang. Check him out when you get a chance. But we started something called his Talk Ones Talk Radio, the reset button, and we allowed the text to teach us. We started from Bereshit. We was going to go all the way to Revelation, from Genesis to Revelation, and every Shabbat we will read, I think, 4 chapters. And we will focus on the cultural aspect, the consistency of the text. If we couldn't have an answer right then and there, we put a pin on it. And we waited till we kept going. And then even if you got into Leviticus, you read Bereshit or Genesis, you didn't know what this was really saying, we let the text bring it out, and then it'll come out later, contextually, culturally, from being consistent, right? Through the language, we used it that way. So we went that way, and then I lost my train of thought. Wow. So we went that way, and we just allowed that to bring it out. So when you go back to Joseph, we're seeing that Joseph is looked at by his family a certain type of way, but they didn't understand him. So Christianity, some of us will think, well, okay, he couldn't be perfect. Name a place where he did something wrong. He was without sin. Sin. His parents or his father didn't understand why he was saying what he was saying. But what about before that? It didn't say anything about him doing anything wrong. Do we have that today? Yes, we do. I've seen people that were in Christianity to where I'll look at them and be like, man, that person ain't did nothing wrong. Like literally. Never seen one thing. And I was around this one individual all the time when we was younger, and he didn't do nothing that nobody else did at all. None of the above. But people say, well, shoot, he got to be sinful. How do you know that? Well, he got to be thinking something. None of us know what no one is actually thinking. Only the Most High does. Even when you go into the first century with Yahusha, when they say you don't know what he's thinking. No one knows what he's thinking. Because a person could be thinking sinful things. Not saying that's the case with him, but I'm trying to open our minds a little bit more. Sinning righteous is based upon what is the standard or the law. And the law covers a lot. Just because we have men and women that harp on the law does not mean they're covering everything. We focus on so many different things, the feast days, going to the Shabbat, treating our brother well, but we're treating everybody else. Like we're not focusing on what they call the weightier matters of the law. That's first century talk. Tanakh talk or pre-exilic talk is circumcising our mind. We circumcise our mind, we're able to look at the things that are most important, that help set a full foundation so we can complete the law and how it's supposed to be. But the law is the only way that can judge you. It's the only thing that can judge us. Look at 2025. We have laws today. If you drive a car, this is one subject. If you have never had a ticket, if you have always driven the speed limit, are you perfect in your driving? Are you blameless in your driving? Never ran a red light? Nothing. The answer is yes. That's what it's based on. But let's keep going because I see the time is going away. So we got Joseph. We got Enoch, described as walking with the Most High and taken by the Most High. No sin recorded. We have went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people so far. 5 people. What am I doing? Why am I bringing this out? Am I trying to discredit something or discredit someone? No. What I am trying to bring out is discredit the misunderstanding from post-exilic teachings, those that are righteous, by the way, not the ones that truly manipulated and tried to remove the understanding of Bnei Israel because they wanted to push their theology and mix it with ours. What does that sound like, what I'm saying? What is that? Amos, when the Most High says through the prophet that I don't want to deal with your new moons, your feasts, all these different things. I don't want to deal with yours. But wait a minute. It never was ours. That was the Most High's. He gave it to us. So what is he talking about? What you talking about, Most High? Oh, yeah, what are you talking about? They infused it with other things that he didn't put in place. Taking on the customs of those outside because we thought that we like that too. Let's just add that with this. I don't want to deal with y'all. That's y'all stuff now. I gave you what you were supposed to do, supposed to operate within, and you wanted to add something else. That's what the influence part I'm talking about. The influential understanding that's being posed or pushed on the pre-exilic understanding that was given to us. So you have the church fathers who waited to the Ebionites, a sect, C-E-C-T, of Bnei Yisrael to die off before they came with all of these different understandings that now we, even as Bnei Yisrael, here as Israelites in 2025, are still doing and understanding, from the elders to those that are not elders. A lot of times it's because we don't know. A lot of times it's because we're learning under other teachers that are ordaining us and giving us that authority over the people, right? Even the righteous people. Like it's righteous people that are ordained. But they may not have that understanding because it's the influence. Then we read other writings. I'm gonna go to that in a minute. We read other writings that substantiate our understanding now that has been pushed on us, right? And these other writings stem from the church fathers. I don't even like calling them church fathers, but that's what everyone knows them as. So we're not understanding these things. I'll give an example of what we do understand. We do understand that our calendar today, this is a different topic, but I want to give an understanding. is Greco-Roman calendar. That's what we call it, which means it's influenced by the Greeks and the Romans. The way that we observe the moons is a influence there. I'm not gonna get into that, but a lot of stuff that we do is influential. How do we do things pre-exilically? How was that done? I put a post up talking about our writings after Malachi, right? Dealing with Apocrypha and things of that nature, and going forward. We have writings that is very important for us today to thrive and to overcome certain things. I like the book of Sirach a lot. I like the book of Maccabees. That shows us how people go through certain things in the exile that they're in or the captivity. Sirach kind of gives you the same vibe of Proverbs and Mishlei, or Proverbs and Psalms, due to matters that's happening, how to overcome it, how to continue to serve, how to put a fence around you. This is what Chief Prince of Bullen always speaks of, because it came out of a Pokea book, or the Ethics of the Fathers. How to put a fence around you, because if you don't, you're going to become influenced. You're going to. So a lot of the things that we're doing today, a lot of our understanding is not pre-exilic. This doesn't mean that the understanding that we have is still not beneficial for us today. I'm not saying that. Seems like I'm going back and forth, right? But when it comes to doctrines and how we move and our understanding, these things can cause us not to be or get to our full potential. I will say this against any teacher. Throughout B'nai Israel, there are many men and women that was deemed perfect or blameless. We're only on number 4 or 5 right now. So we're in Enoch. Let's keep going. This one's going to shock y'all right here. Jonathan, the one that loved Dawid, loyal friend of Dawid and noble warrior. The narrative of him, it doesn't show him having any wrongdoing. None. Where is it? Where does it say that Jonathan sinned? I hope you all are listening. And some of you are just coming in now. You're going to have to start from the beginning when this is over, so you can understand where I'm going with this. But if you stay, you may still get an understanding of where I'm going with this. Please take the time to like, share, subscribe. I think that you should share this. I think that when you share it, you should let people know to start from the beginning, because we need to get back to our foundational understanding, not what has been pushed on us. And now that we are super influenced on many subjects. And I think if we can, these subjects that I'm trying to bring out the most are the ones that can help build a foundation to where we can really prosper as servants of the Most High. All right, so we went through Joshua, Yehoshua, Ben-Nun, Daniel, Shemuel, Yosef, Enoch, or Hanak, and now we just did Jonathan. The next one is Mordecai. Matter of fact, Mordecai and Esther. We can't leave out the women. What do you see anything being said or wrong or sinful? When did it say that Esther was sinful? What does it say she sinned? What does it say that she's wicked? We had many men and women that were deemed what you would call blameless. We're going to get into what blameless really is in a minute, but I'm just going down. I'm building a case, right? Before I bring out what I'm building a case. And I want you all to write this stuff down or go back to it and challenge the information, because the purpose is we have to get back to our foundational understanding pre-exilically. And that's what we saw people like Ezra and Nehemiah was trying to do to those that we was in exile prior. So we had to bring it back. We have individuals today in 2025. Let me drink a little bit of this tea, y'all. Sorry. In 2025, we have elements of being brought back. We're getting brought back to the law. That's like the major thing that we teach. The major thing that we teach as B'nai Israel is coming back to the law. And that's like really the standard. I don't know what every camp organization teaches. I do, me and my Isha, we do go around and see what's being taught. And that's really the standard that's being taught. A lot of things is not being taught that I don't see fully. And I'm not, when I say this, I'm not talking about people I recently visited. I'm not really putting anything out that per se is man and woman. Man and woman. The importance of how culturally that's the true foundation. And when you think about it, most of us in this truth or Christianity or whatever we at, as so-called Black people, we're failing there the greatest. That's why we see our community at a disarray. Our nation. Why? Because we have forgotten the cultural understanding of building. Me and my Isha was talking, I think it was a woman, she brought out and told me that, you know, a lot of our women are being snatched, being, you know, unalived, as people say, because I don't know if I say the actual word, if this will get taken down. All these things. And one of the major reasons they're getting this done to them is because they're on their own. They're going out there by themselves. They're going to stores by themselves. They're going on trips by themselves. They're going wherever by themselves. Well, I'm grown. That's the issue. And guess what? Them same women are Christians. Them same women are Israelites. I don't think Muslims move like that fully. They have an aspect of the culture of how we actually move. You won't see that. And then a misconception too is about, well, in Africa, we were, you know, us women, we was powerful, we do this, and yes, you are powerful. I would never say you're not. But guess what? It's only 20%. 20. I did a study on it. 20% of women of Africa that live in Africa, they are the ones that may move on their own, walk on their own. But 80% don't. 80% always has a man present. And if it's not a man present, there are a group of women with them. So we need to stop using the Africa stuff. We have to get back to the cultural understanding, especially if you are Israelite or someone that observes the Bible, the cultural understanding. I don't like saying Bible, the text, the Tanakh, any literature that we produced as is B'nai Israel, we have to get back to that culture, the pre-exilic understanding. I want to come up with another term because I don't want anybody to think I'm taking this from Iran or Divine, but that's not the case. Anybody that knows us know since 2012 we've been going into this, right? But all praises to the Most High for using him to get people back to that understanding. The problem is, I think that people are trying to learn from what's being taught, but we're not applying it. We are people that want to be scholastic, right? Scholarly, but we're not fully going back. It's a good talking point. Remember, we're at Cry Aloud conference. I'm gonna talk. Me and my Isha are gonna bring this out before we sing. We are at a Cry Aloud conference right now. A lot of us as teachers, we talk. A lot of us as congregants, we talk. A lot of us as Israelites, we talk. And through the scripture, it has said, "You honor me with what? Your lips. But your heart is far from me." That's why he said, look, I don't want your feast days. I don't want your month. A lot of you say new moon. I don't want that. But it was him that gave it to us. So why doesn't he want it? Because we're putting ourselves and the customs outside of us on it. So that's the point right here. So let's get to it. So we said Yehoshua, Daniel, Samuel, Joseph, Enoch, Jonathan, Mordecai, and even Esther too. Who was another one? Noah, described as righteous and blameless or perfect in his generation, right? But see, the church fathers has put on Christianity, and even some of us in B'nai Israel as Israelites, to say, well, he was drunk. But then we forget the context. We don't. If you're in a region, some people teach it it's a region. Some people teach us the world. I won't tell y'all what we think it to be. But even if you're in a region or you're in a world, and so many people got unalived, you was meant to build this and only your family survived. You telling me once you make it to where you at, You won't have you a sip or something? Now, if you're a person that don't drink, then I understand it. But if he had a drink and went to sleep, he sinned. See, that's one thing right there showing it's not perfect. You know what's interesting though? The very person that you call perfect, right? Which I'm not opposed of him being perfect if he is. Made wine. Didn't it say make wine, made wine? We're the ones that's adding to the text. We're adding. Let's get to it because I'm taking too long. So you have Noah. Then you have Job or Job. Job literally was said to be perfect and blameless and a servant of the Most High. Have you tried my faithful servant Job? But you know what happened? A lot of us, church fathers, then goes to see the rest of the text and say, see, he's complaining. He's doing all this. By the way, his wife too. You ain't see nothing bad said about his wife. You do see Job say, you're speaking as a unlearned or a foolish woman. He didn't say you are. Because she was saying to him, look, just let go. Bless the Most High and die. I know it says curse. It's not curse. Don't let nobody fool you. Bless the Most High and die. Let it go. You're going through a lot of pain. See, some of these people that teach, they don't got no wife that love them. They may be married and don't have a wife that really takes care of them, loves them, faithful to them, cares about everything about them. So they can't understand what's actually happening with Job and his wife. Let me ask y'all this question. When the sons and the servants and all this stuff was being destroyed, did Job's wife say anything? No, she didn't. Job's wife didn't say anything negative, sinful. No doubt. When the stuff took place with all her children and all the servants and all that. But you know when she did say something? When her husband or Ish was unrecognizable. When he was in so much pain. So much pain. Let's just bless the Most High and let go. It's okay. That's what she was coming from. Well, how do you know that? You're just interpolating the text. Not interpreting, but interpolating the text, which means you put something in there, which is what a lot of church fathers did, by the way, and Judaism. We're going to get into that if I got time. I'm going to get us through this before we leave because I need y'all to understand where I'm going with this. I'm not interpolating the text. If I was, right, I'm looking at the text prior to when she said that. When all the crazy stuff that was happening, not crazy, the Most High deemed it righteous, that was happening to his family and to all his belongings and stuff like that, servants, we didn't hear her voice at all, which means I can deduce from the text that she was a woman of sound mind. She was a righteous woman. And then I could take from what he said. He said, you're speaking as, he didn't say you are. Come on, honey, baby, whatever you want to call your wife or your Isha. Now, you don't know me talk like this. You talking like a foolish woman right now. I know you not. You are outstanding, upstanding, righteous, black, beautiful woman. You don't do this. I know. Come on. We're reading this text like a book that we buy off a shelf of Barnes and Nobles. We're not reading it from a cultural understanding. All right, for those of you just coming in right now, please, we've been on for about 49 minutes. You have to go back when this is over. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to reiterate what I said a little bit as we go, but you got to go back so you can see what this is talking about. Please like, please share, please subscribe. All right, so we had Joshua, Daniel, Shemuel, Joseph, Enoch, even Jonathan, not even David. Jonathan was greater than David. Oh, wow. Shut up. What are you talking about? In that subject, we know that David sinned in the matters dealing with Uriah the Hittite, but not Jonathan. Just like we know that Moshe sinned one time that we can see, didn't do what it was that the Most High told him to do. But Joshua is greater than him in obedience. Understanding what I'm saying, because hopefully I got time to bring out why I'm bringing the servant being greater. The servant, or the one that's under the tutelage, the one that's learning from, right? Joshua is the successor of Moshe, and now he is greater than Moses in obedience. Elijah Elisha is a successor of Elijah, but now he's greater than Elijah, taking on a double portion. So it's two messages that's happening right now. One is that I just brought out, but the main topic of discussion is these individuals that I'm pointing out is without sin. Nowhere in text does it say that they sinned or wicked or disobedient to the Most High. Not one of them. Why isn't this being pushed by the church fathers that has influenced Christianity and has influenced us as Israelites and has influenced Muslims and has influenced anyone that goes by the scriptures? Because what has been removed is the cultural understanding of what says the Most High, the cultural understanding of those who the Most High has sent, the cultural understanding of who is righteous, who is blameless, who is perfect. And when I'm bringing this out, this is not taken away from what your understanding may be from Yehoshua, Yahushua, Jesus, whatever name you call him. But see, we teach from a standpoint of what everyone you look up to and read, we teaching from the same point they did. And the way they did, because we're supposed to be greater than them. We're supposed to be greater servants than them. We're supposed to stand on their shoulders and bring out elements of what they brought out, but greater. And each and every last one of them pointed you back to the Most High Yah. Every last one of them. Even so much so that they quoted often scripture or literature before them. And the people who they talked to, if they weren't learned, this doesn't mean they're stupid. If they weren't learned in what they were saying, didn't even recognize. I've been posting a couple of days showing you how certain people within the first century is literally quoting from the very things that we read in Sirach. We read in a lot of literature prior, because this was their script. This was their scripture. This is our scripture, not writings. My books that I'm writing is not scripture. The books my Isha is going to write, she did some Hebrew books so far, but she's going to probably dabble into the lane that I'm in as well. It's not scripture, but it's authoritative. I don't care what no one says. It's the principles from the skeleton, which is the Torah. Just like Proverbs and Psalm and Ecclesiastes and Sirach or Ecclesiastes, we all use that as authoritative. Those of us that want to be cultural B'nai Yisrael. The most read book by everybody, anybody, any sect that you're a part of, the one book that most people go to is not even the Torah. I said this last week, I think I did, but it's Proverbs. Why am I saying that? Because most people that we run around or come in contact with is not a student of the scriptures. No matter if they're a Christian, no matter if they're Israelite, which that's crazy. Not crazy, but you know what I'm trying to say. We don't read it like that. We need something that's relatable, that's going to help us understand how to move. And that's what books like Proverbs and Psalms and Ecclesiastes and the Mishnah or Poker book, right? Or books like what Chief Prince of Bulin writes, definitely. Books like I Pray One Day, my books will be like, because we try to expound and bring the understanding of today. And that's what we're doing right now. I want to bring you all the understanding of what perfect or blameless actually is. That it is nothing different from the Tanakh all the way to 2025. Any teacher that you look up to, any leader, any Mashiachim, Messiah, Mashiach that you look up to is going to teach the exact same thing that I'm teaching you. Exactly. And they're going to tell you that you're going to be greater than them. You're going to do more things than them. They either tell you that or they show you that. Okay, let me post what you're saying right now. Then we're going to continue. Joshua said it's enough to be like their master, and he also said that we will do greater words and works because the word Most High lives in us and is petitioned for us. I definitely believe that. Okay, right? We'll do greater works for sure, which shows we have a long way to go. So since we are not even doing what he has done, it's people that are. It's people that has. We don't know. Remember, this is what I want to bring out. The way that we speak, and I'm not talking about you per se, but it's a good example. Me using what you're bringing out. A lot of us, we are just mimicking and regurgitating. Not everyone. What the church fathers have put in us. We don't even. And the crazy thing about it is, or the interesting thing about it is, we don't like the church fathers, but we don't know that a lot of ways that we are speaking is what they gave us. But if you literally just look at, because remember they're doing commentary on what they're reading. They're manipulating what's being said too, and they make the foundation, and it has been embedded in all the people that came before us. So much so that it was embedded in us to the point of our age right now. We have to remove it, not completely. There's some good elements. But everywhere, before who you're speaking about and after, there are people that are doing the same thing and they're doing greater. He said it for a reason, according to the text that you're bringing out. This is how we're supposed to be. It's in Elisha had a double portion of Eliyahu or Elijah's spirit. The true men and women of the Most High will be greater. The true men and women of the Most High is greater. Are we greater in every aspect? We are all different people. So we're going to have things that we're greater in. But then there are some that will be greater in every aspect. It just depends. We have to make it more realistic. We're not making it realistic. And I'm not knocking that, because if that's needed in your home to feel closer to the Most High, to get better, become better as a person, I rock with you. That doesn't take away that I have to bring out this understanding. Let's continue, because I'm going to start breezing through some things now, you all, because I want to get this done. This is not a part one, part two. All right. So we went through everybody. We have a couple other people, but Christianity or the church fathers have really made it seem like they're not. We got Abraham, right? Presented as the father of faith. A lot of people debate that some of the things that he did with Hagar, some of the things in Egypt makes him not such, but the Most High calls him a friend. It doesn't say that he sinned at all. It doesn't say it. Did he lie? Sure. But if somebody comes in your house right now, I use this all the time. Somebody comes in your house, a so-called black, white, whoever, but let's just use so-called black, because a lot of us are so-called black, comes in your house, and we call them brothers too. We call somebody a brother first day we meet them. But they come in their house, and your family is upstairs. He doesn't know that. And he says, "Where's your family at?" And you say, "They're not here." Did you sin? Let that marinate. Did you sin? Because if you say yes, Eb says, then you're going against the blood of your brother or the blood of your sister, which is, I'm just saying, your wife and your children. You're going over the blood of you're giving the blood of your family away. So did you sin? No, you didn't. But to Christianity, you did. I brought this up to a few pastors. I brought this up to people that I know close. And they said, well, they was kind of struck with that. Why? Because of what's being pushed on us. Some of us, we let go some things, but we haven't let go the majority. We haven't let go all. we have to do our best to get back to that, and that's going to help us thrive more, right? You'll be surprised. Don't I want to encourage all of you, especially you all that I know that are righteous, you all that I know that have love for the Most High. We have areas we need to grow in. We always going to grow. Everyone grew. And when I bring out the part where the first century stuff, you're going to see what I'm talking about. That's ignored sometimes. Everyone grew in certain elements. Some was more equipped than others, but we don't know every area. I understand what the text say, but you have to. Let's keep going. So I'm gonna get away from all that. Okay, let's get to where I want to get to now. So we went through the 10 people. It was actually more than 10, but I went through the 10 that is no question at all. I didn't bring out. It was Ruth, Esther, Deborah. What do we see? Something's wrong. That's said wrong against Deborah. Where did it say she sinned or she was a sinning person? If the text says that there's no one that does not sin, we have to truly analyze that. We apply sayings and scriptures and we make it broad. In that same context, we got to use when Romans 3 says no one is righteous. If we're going to use no one is without sin, but then we know that there are people righteous, we got to use the same thing with no one is righteous. I'm smiling hard because I don't understand. I don't see how you would debate that part right there. It says no one is without sin, but then it also says no one is righteous, but we know people are righteous. So no one's without sin. Could we say that there are people without sin? I showed you 10. And there's more. See, that Romans 3 comes from Psalms 14 when it says no one is righteous. But before it says the Most High look down on men, or before it says that the fool says in his heart that there is no Elohim. So the context is the fool right there. Most High looks down on men and he sees that no one is righteous, right? But this man is not talking about the whole earth. But we'll stop there. You keep going down, it says, and they came against my righteous ones. I call it sound bite scripture. And that's what the church fathers did. That's what the church fathers taught us. That's what we have brought from them and brought over here into the Israelite world. So where we use sound bite scriptures and we lose context, culture, consistency of the text, language, cultural anthropology. We lose. I know that's a term that they gave us, but I understand the term. Like those around us, the neighboring individuals, to get an understanding of what's actually happening. Okay, so let's keep going. Now let's get to it. I'm going to breeze through this, you all. So I showed you everything in the Tanakh. A lot of things in Tanakh. We went through most men, and then we went through about 3 or 4 women that you will not be able to show that they sinned. Not through the text. Now I know the text, I want to make this clear. The text does not show us everything. Just like when we talk about the Hebrew language, every Hebrew word is not in the Tanakh, y'all. Every word that they would have said back then is not. If we think that is, Most High bless you. Everything is not spoken of in the Tanakh. Does the same thing about brushing your teeth. You know, we know we're supposed to clean ourselves, but I'm saying everything matters that's discussed in our literature typically is to bring us closer to the Most High and how to serve one another. That's it. It's not talking about every matter. And sometimes things are not mentioned because that wasn't the major concern that the people needed. I wanted to bring that out because that's a lot of arguments too. Well, see, this ain't what it was. No. Well, why they ain't talking about this? Because that wasn't a matter that was needed for the people. It was specific things that was needed for the people to shift and change and get back to the Most High. They didn't need to know that. It was a given for them. Certain things that we know that we don't know now, that we say, okay, well, see, this should have been said, or no. We're the ones that need it now. We're not the ones that have families that grew up with one another, a whole community of each other growing up. So this is a given that, okay, we built our child right here, our child right here knew each other since birth. I mean, we have that going to schools and stuff like that. But I'm talking about close knit situations. That was a given then. We're not doing that now. So when Jeremiah in chapter 29 says to build homes and marry your children with your children, stuff like that, he had to introduce how we was doing back then. And then he had to implement that and pressure that point, because now we're being pushed in the system and as an exilic or exile, so it's more of a chance that we can be influenced. So if we can marry our children with one another, if we can grow our own food, if we can build houses typically just means networking too, because it can be one side from building houses on land with one another, or building as far as covenants. Because you can't marry your children with children if you ain't going out there networking. Especially in 2025, most of us don't live with each other, around each other. Most of us are coming together with these feast days, like me and my Isha right now. We're at Cry Aloud conference, but we're meeting people that we don't know. People we heard of, people that heard of us, but we don't know them. So that's how we typically do. But a lot of people, they're all outside of those days, we're sending our children to the other schools with no moral compass the moral compass that we have, the understanding, the ideology, the theology that we have, we don't. So we have to network, build houses. Houses is structure. Houses keeps everything that is harmful outside of the house. Somebody try to come rob you, but the door is locked and it's sealed, secure. They can't get in there. So if you build enough people, a network that have covenant, by the way. A lot of us come together, we're friends, we're brothers already, and we ain't built the covenant. So build a house, a foundation first, then marry one another. So that's what we're trying to do here. But let's go now. So we started with the Tanakh. Now I'm going to go a little bit in the first century, because this is where a lot of people get their understanding from. We get the understanding of the new before we get the understanding of the Tanakh, or even the literature that's after the Tanakh that's before first century. And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the issue. So I'm just going to go over some of my notes, right? The Gospels show Yehoshua or Yahushua being declared innocent or faultless in specific situations, mainly at his trial and crucifixion. But they do not state directly that he lived his entire life without sin. Ooh, y'all not gonna like me when I say that. But I painted a picture to let you know that I believe that a person can be. But the context is clear. It's a context that's brought out even there. And it's talking about a lot of things pertaining to the truth. See people dropping off. I don't know if they're dropping off because of what I'm saying, but those that know us understand I'm not talking in the way that, people, I'm trying to denounce anything. I'm trying to bring out cultural understanding, right? So, Pilate, I find no fault in him. The fault in him is dealing with the trial. That's the context. I find no fault in him. That was a situation that happened, and they was trying to put him out there to get him killed. But what did he do? I don't see nothing wrong with him, right? Luke 23 talks about the criminal on the cross. This man has done nothing wrong. This is individuals that have done something wrong. They understand it, but he hasn't. A lot of us be put on trial on certain things that happen. I remember something happened with me and my Isha, and somebody put something out there that was 100% false. He ended up apologizing, even though the way that this is what we got to change that too. The way that he apologized was nowhere near the level of his lies. Trying to destroy, kill, harm us. But then he had to apologize publicly because he lied. He know he did. But his apology was us, I was completely wrong, y'all. And that was it. But the initial thing was trying to destroy. It was completely long. Okay, let's keep going. These are all tied to his trial, his death, not blanket statements about his lifelong sinlessness. By contrast, the letters we got Paul, we got Hebrews, we got Peter, we got John, explicitly extend it to his whole life. So right now it says he knew no sin, 2 Corinthians, tempted in every way as we are, yet without sin, Hebrews 4:15. He committed no sin, 1 Peter. In him there is no sin, 1 John. Let's break that down to a cultural understanding. All right. Some of you are just coming in now, so you don't know the story I brought out earlier about a guy that I know personally still to this day. I was around him. Shoot, honestly, I could say this about she won't like it, so I'm not gonna say her name. By a lot of people I don't. But him specifically, I was around him daily. I'm talking because we did music. And from the age of 17 to maybe 22, I never saw nothing. I was with him daily, weekly, monthly. Never saw anything. Matter of fact, he was a virgin until he got married. I would definitely see when these individuals are speaking, they're speaking from some of them, not all of them, are speaking from a personal perspective of them. You have people and friends that you're around that you may be a righteous woman or a righteous man, and they don't see nothing that you're doing wrong. Like, man, this person don't do nothing. This woman or man don't cuss, don't drink, which ain't nothing wrong with drinking. Don't do none of this stuff. This person righteous, or this person is so and so. This person don't live my life. This person don't have the mindset that I have when certain things happen. How he or she speaks is always balanced, is always on point. Scripture said, "Let another man speak of you, and then they will speak highly of you, like you have not did anything. You have been blameless according to," and we're going to get into this in a minute. You have been blameless according to what we know is good and bad. So he knew no sin. He didn't do anything. Tempted in every way. Watch this. I remember I was talking to the guy I'm talking to you about, and he said this. He was like, he was a successful guy. He was, 17 successful, making 100,000 plus a year. And then it was another guy we knew. Two people used to say, we all came around each other. They'll say, man, well, shoot, so-and-so don't understand. I'm not gonna say his name. I almost did. So and so don't understand. I got a wife. I got a woman. I got 2 children. Blah blah blah. This and that. And he sat me down one day. He said, "I don't like when people say that." I said, "Why?" He said, "They say I don't understand, but I purposefully, intentionally didn't put myself in those situations." When he said that, I was younger too, so it blew me away when I heard him. He said, do you know how hard it was for me or is for me to do what I'm doing? Got my own place, all that stuff. I'm not doing any of this stuff. And I said, dude, I understand. Why am I saying that right now? It says, tempted in every way as we are, yet without sin. He was tempted. A virgin to marriage, before marriage. And women liked him. They used to call him Lil Will Smith. My Isha probably hear my voice right now. She know who I'm talking about. At that time, that's what he was. He was tempted. And he said that he was like, you all chose to do this. You all have a child outside of marriage. You all failed in this situation because y'all go out. He didn't go clubbing. He didn't do anything. He just worked. He went to church. He was the organ player. And he lived a blameless life in that time that I knew him. He was that. I said this to him, by the way. And when I was 24, 25, I said, dude, when I read the text, this is before I became what I am now, as my transitioning into where I am now. I'm like, dude, when I look at the text and I see how your life is, I'm like, Dude, I don't think we understand what perfect means. According to the text, I don't think we understand when it says tempted in every way as we are, yet without sin. We look at this as mystifying. We look at it from a standpoint of what, think about it, what exile was we in? What's our calendar? Greek Roman. What is the influence of the Greeks? How did they view deifying? We're not looking at it like that. But let's keep going, y'all. Roman, yeah. Let's keep going. So I'm trying to bring us something out, and I'm not interpolating the text. But let's keep going. He committed no sin. In him there is no sin. That's what I felt about this individual that I'm talking about. And that's only one person. I know as many, multiple. And here's the problem. We'll look at a person that is clearly that, what's being said right here and what I said about him. A woman is like that, man. They're clearly that, but then we try to find fault in them. Oh, look at how she think about this. Look at how he thinks about this. See, I know they ain't that. No, they are that. You're talking about a thought. You're talking about a subject. You're not talking about their life. That's the issue. You're talking about a subject, a thought. You're not talking about their life. You're not talking about what's within them. Oh, see, they reacted. They reacted. Didn't who you deem to be perfect react and flip stuff over? I know it's a different subject, but we're going to react. We have to be able to look at subject matters and understand that that's not applying for who that person is. That's what they're doing. And if it's not against the law, against what the Most High has put in place, then that does not deem them not righteous. David or Dawid, some of you may say, was deemed righteous. The only matter was with Uriah the Hittite, the things he did that was crazy and wicked within that. Before that, he was not. He was deemed righteous, even blameless. And guess what? He killed people. I hope I don't get that removed from me saying that. He unalived people. But see, there's a difference between unaliving, KILLING, and MURDERING. Two different things. Two different Hebrew words, by the way. Let's keep going because I'm taking too long. It's 11:08. We got to transition to the Cry Aloud conference. All right. So Gospels is situational innocence. The letters goes about lifelong sinlessness. So letters dealing with like Paul, and he goes a little different. I won't get into that. This is not what this is about. It mainly is about showing you that there were people before and after that are going to be deemed as sinless, blameless. A lot of us can't fathom that now because we have came into this, what we call truth. So we know what some people have done before it. Don't our texts tell us, dealing with like 2 Chronicles 7:14, dealing with Isaiah chapter 1, dealing with Ezekiel, I think 18, when it talks about when we shift and we change, then from there, that's when we're going to be being accounted for. You know, the Most High it may be some remembrance of it in a sense, but from there, our righteousness, we stay going forward. That's what we're going from. That's what happened with Josiah. Josiah was doing things that was wrong, but it says there was no king before him or after him that changed the way that he did and stayed the course. None. So after that, I can guarantee you he was blameless. And honestly, I'll say he was blameless before that because he was going according to what he knew. Just like there are Christians that's going according to what they know. And there's some great ones. Better than some of us. But they just don't know. Some of them do know, by the way, but some of them don't. And some, if they are truly of the Most High, they want to really serve the Most High from what their understanding is. When they find out about it, they shift and they change. Hence, us. The problem is there are some that shift and change that are us, that are not ones that was truly faithful to begin with anyway, but they're just coming in this path because it's a thing, you know. Let's keep going because I'm taking too long. So there are people that believe if the they'll say things like, this is what the church fathers teach too, by the way. Opposite of opposite of there are teachers that or people that will teach that will see just because the text doesn't say, or just because the text says they did not sin, does not mean that they didn't throughout their life. I would say you're interpolating, not interpreting, interpolating in the text. That's a cop out. That's a post-exilic understanding. That's the Greeks, the Romans, that's the church fathers that said, no, take what the text says. The text tells us how these individuals were. If it says they perfect in their, matter of fact, it says in his generation, he was perfect. He was blameless. Well, see, since it says this here, it doesn't mean that he didn't do it his whole life. It said in his generation, meaning in his lifetime. That's the pre-exilic understanding. That is our foundational understanding. We need to have that. Stop taking the understanding and the influence that's given within the church fathers of Christianity. I purposely talk like that because I don't want to offend any Christians. There's some good Christians out there. And trust me, it's within our Israelite communities. We have that same thought process. Completely. The teachers, the congregants, we have it. Even so much so they'll hear me speak right now and they'll say, oh man, we need to put a X on them. Don't deal with them. What am I saying wrong? Nothing that I'm saying is going to be against any man or woman of the Most High or servant. And it's nothing I'm saying is going to be different than them. And I stand on this. Let's keep going. So if the text doesn't mention sin, it cannot automatically be read as they must have sinned. That's what I put in my notes, because I know that the opposite is, well, it say they didn't sin, but it doesn't mean that they didn't do it. We can't put that in there. We can't interpolate that in the text because we feel that it's impossible for them to have done that. That's what we feel. So the assumption comes from later theological frameworks, both rabbinic. See, y'all don't know that. Well, you all may know that, but a lot of us don't know that. A lot of the influence is rabbinic, not just Christian, it's rabbinic. Later theological frameworks, both rabbinic and Christian, where all humans sin. That's what they say. Well, all human sin is treated as a universal doctrine. When it said all humans sin, that's not universal. Just like when it says no one is righteous, that wasn't universal. That was talking about a context. When it said that in Romans 3, and y'all know I don't really go to the new like that because me and my Ishai teach the same way that any man or woman that was of the Most High taught, and they taught from the foundation of the Tanakh. That was a foundation. Everybody. So I want to do what we did, and that's how we taught. So if you all don't see me going to the new like that, don't just think that you all know what we believe. We believe what any man and woman of the Most High believed. We teach the same exact way. The problem is, it's not the norm of us today in 2025. That's not the norm. We feel that we have to go in other places, but the people that we look up to did not go in those places. They were doing the work. They was doing the job. They were writing letters. They was writing books to the people, to the churches, so they can learn and get back to the Tanakh, to the Torah being the foundation. I purposely said Tanakh and Torah. But for those of us that say Tanakh and Torah, and we're not purposely saying it, understand that Torah is within the Tanakh. All right? So that's the framework. This may be a little bit long. We might probably another 15 minutes, y'all. So the assumption comes from later theological frameworks, rabbinic and Christian, but the Tanakh itself doesn't always speak that way. I already said about Deborah, Ruth, and Esther. You ain't gonna find nowhere where it said they sinned. Let's go. So a lot of people framing is post-exilic, and later interpretive traditions, Second Temple literature, church fathers, even watch this, Augustine's doctrine. I don't know if a lot of you all know about Augustine's doctrine being the original sin. The original sin that has been implemented in our thought process. We even take when the scripture talks about, I'm paraphrasing right now, when it's speaking from a standpoint of that we're born in sin. Are you telling me that a baby sins as soon as it's born? No. I don't care what none of y'all say. If y'all say that, may the Most High bless y'all. May the Most High touch your heart and your mind. That baby ain't coming in sinning, but you're born in a world that produces sin. You're not born a sinner. That's a Christian doctrine. Stop teaching that. Because a lot of people will take what you say and say, well, shoot, I'm a sinner anyway. I might as well go ahead. The accountability that we all be hoping for is due to what we teach. Okay. So Augustine brought that out. The original sin. Those traditions read the text through their theology rather than just the narrative itself. Now, again, I understand we got to have cultural understanding and things like that. But what we take from what we know today is mainly because it's a theological approach. It's not from the text itself. Later interpreters read universal sinfulness into everyone except who we say Messiah, Yahushua. That's later interpreters. That's not the text itself. That's later interpreters. You have to understand what is pre-exilic and post-exilic. And if you're just coming in now, you have to start from the beginning. This is an hour and 27 minutes so far. Please watch it back to get the context of what I'm saying. If you decide to be pushed away from what I'm saying, that's okay. I'm good with it. But that's not my approach. That's not our approach. And my Isha not present right now, but she's normally here with me. Let's go with it. Now, Hebrews is tough. Hebrews 2:10 says, for it was fitting for him to make the author of their salvation perfect through sufferings. Hebrews 5:9 says, having been made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation. And then Hebrews 7:28 says, the Son who has been made perfect forever. I won't get into that. Trust me, I can. This is not a debate. What I'm trying to do is to bring out the cultural understanding, and we're going to get into that. We have been getting into that. We got into that mainly. I encourage us not to soundbite scripture. The soundbiting is what causes us not to get to the perfect state that every person that was of the Most High is trying to get us to do. We can do it. It's not from the standpoint of what we believe perfect to be. But I'm going to show you what it's from. So the Hebrews 2:10, Hebrews 5:9, Hebrews 7:28, there's a context involved in that a little more. I won't get into that now. I can, if you want me to, I maybe will in the future. But again, I typically just teach from either the books that we're writing or the Tanakh, just like they did, just like everyone did. I think that we have taken epistles and things like that and caused us to lose the foundational understanding of what it is that they were trying to teach before first century, that they were trying to teach after first century. We're trying to teach here in 2025. We lost it, y'all. We're losing it. And a lot of it is deemed to the continuation of us as teachers, leaders. We're just regurgitating through our school of our theological schooling and things like that. And we think that we're going there to just learn a little bit about it and then make sure we just go away from it and put the true culture in it, but we still have residue of it within our teaching. We're not understanding it. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, everyone that's here. Please, if you haven't, please go back to the beginning. If you did not see the beginning, start there. then you're going to really understand what we're getting to, where I'm getting to. Okay, we're almost done. So these are my notes I'm going through. These are some of my notes because it'll help me go faster because I'll just start talking and me and my Isha have to be somewhere in the next 40 minutes. All right. We're at the Cry Aloud conference right now in North Carolina. That's why we're starting early today. So other elements of influence that caused the church fathers to start, remember, they're writing from a standpoint too of their being influenced in their approach. It says, First Clement, written by the Bishop of Rome to Corinth, Jehoshua is portrayed as the scepter of the majesty of Elohim and completely obedient, though not using the exact Greek word teleos. Perfect. Completely obedient. These are things that any man and woman of the Most High, any message that was sent is supposed to be completely obedient. That's not foreign. I told you, Joshua was completely obedient, even more so that he's greater than Moses from a standpoint of obedience. Daniel, completely obedient. All these individuals, the 10 individuals that I brought out, was completely obedient. The women that I brought out, they were completely sinless from what we saw. We ain't talking about attitudes or how you may think of something or a difference of opinion that is not pertaining to being perfect. You see, we have had this thing of perfect being, well, if I mess up, I'm not perfect. No. And what is messing up? What does it apply to? We have to be more intentional in what the subject is, because if we don't, we make blanket statements and we make it across the board. And now we have no foundation to truly understand the culture. The Epistles of Barnabas talks about, and that's first to early second century, presents that Yehoshua is as the perfect temple and a sinless sacrifice. That's cool. That guy doesn't use the word perfect directly, but speaks of walking in the way of life revealed to them as Yahushua. And I'm trying to be balanced right now. Some people say, why are you going here? You're going to make people not understand what you're saying. I'm not worried about that. If you have truly been listening, if you have truly listened to everything I said and the information I brought, you will understand that me coming here does not affect it. Because I'm almost about to bring the dagger. The dagger that's going to let you know, that's going to bring life, a dagger of life. Okay. The shepherd of Hermas calls the son of Elohim without blemish. Okay, which is sacrificial language for sinlessness. We have to understand the authors. What's their mind frame? What's their influence? What's their ideology? Who they've been taught by? All of these things is important because it shifts and it shapes the way that you think. Most of us that come into this walk, we're taught by someone or we're taught from watching other people. We don't know no background about them. And if we do, we haven't really focused on what's their ideology, what's their standpoint, why, and how did they get there? Me and my Isha, we can tell you if you ever asked how are we where we at. I gave you a taste of it earlier when I said after the first 3 years, we said, you know what, we have to go and let the text teach. I do not suggest this for everyone. We purposely had we had a council of people when we did it. And we didn't just look at something and say, okay, that's what it meant. We said, nope, we put a pin on it. And it took us 3 years. We didn't get to Revelation, by the way. We made it all the way to Jeremiah. It took us 3 years. And sometimes we started at Genesis. We saw something like, man, yeah, that's okay. We're going to leave that. And then we'll get all the way to Judges. And it'll come out in Judges because we had 2 or 3 or 4 other instances where it started to open up, but we still didn't make that the focus or the say it all be all. We say, okay, you know what? Let's keep going. See what it brings. Okay, let's keep going. I'm almost finished. Now, I read to you some of the people that was after. Luke 1 introduces Zechariah and Elizabeth. And this is why I don't understand why a lot of Christians don't go here or understand this. It says that, and they were both righteous before Elohim, walking in all. We can't keep all the commandments. Walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Most High, blameless. This is in the new. Blameless. But you know what happens after that? Oh, you look beautiful over there. I'm almost. You know what happens after that? They say that since he kind of questioned, and then the angel made him to where he couldn't speak. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a while since I ever read Luke. Real long time. Where he couldn't speak. See, that was an element. Wait a minute. The scripture just said the man was blameless. Why do you? Why do we go with? We're looking for a reason to prove that we can't do it. We're looking for a reason to, guess what? Go against the Most High. We're taking a situation, a subject, a moment in time, and making that moment in time the greatest of all things that we have seen prior. That's a false balance. A false balance is an abomination to the Most High. We need to keep the balance of everything. It said they was blameless and everything. Commandments, all that, ordinances. That's what it says. Let's keep going. I got a few minutes left. I'm going to continue. I'm finishing this before we leave. I'm sorry. All right, so we see the key terms is upright, just, with, and watch this. This word amemtoi, Greek. I don't speak Greek, Koine Greek, so I'm not gonna act like I do. But it says that it's blameless, and that means without fault, without reproach, nothing you accuse them of. But guess what? Wasn't most of the men and the women of the Most High accused of something? Wasn't most of the men and women accused of something? Thank y'all. Everyone was. But the word is still used that they was blameless. But people outside of them can accuse them for anything. I normally would have went longer than that. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. We're almost there. So a lot of this comes from later Christian theology rather than simply letting the text itself speak. Let's keep going. I'm trying to get to the main point. All right, now we're about to close out. You all. Last thing I want to bring out, and this is dealing with Yahusha or Yehoshua. All right. We have to allow the text to teach us, y'all. But we can't allow, I think we should remove everything that the church, not everything. Some of the things the church fathers brought out, even some of the things that rabbinic, blah, blah, blah. That's cool because it's truth and elements and everything. But I think we got to remove it. It's just my take. Some of you might be a part of organizations and you may take this back to your leaders or you may not. And they might, even with me trying to be as balanced as possible, even with me not trying to talk about anybody in the wrong way, you all have not seen me say anything wrong about Yahusha. So let's get into Yahusha real quick and then we're done. And I think I missed a couple things in here, but I think for the most part, you'll get what I'm saying. I wrote this to a post. I just copied and pasted it. I wrote this to on a post that I saw on Facebook, and he asked the question. I forgot what he said exactly. And some of you may have seen the post, but I posted, and my response was this. I said, here's a thought that I believe we don't consider. And I think we should as a whole. And I try my hardest to point this out to people. It says, Yehoshua or Yahusha ben Yosef said many things that were cultural concepts, practices, and ideas that they knew that we today tend not to know or see the pattern. Let's stop there. I said that earlier. A lot of times we are reading today, a lot of us are not deeply learned in the script, but we know how to quote, and that's not a shot. I think that's really good. But we don't know the cultural aspects of it. Like I told you, a lot of things that any of us say is from someone prior. Well, Paul or whoever wrote Romans 3 says no one is righteous. That's taken from Psalms 14, a piece of it. And then he started pointing out what he was actually talking about, but the whole Christian community has said no one's righteous and no one's perfect, and we got it over here too. Everything that someone says or uses, any literature that is brought out that has the principles in some capacity, whether it's very little or very high, is taken from old. No matter how great you believe anybody to be, it's taken from old. Even Moshe, when he brought out laws, the Most High gave it, but some of it was taken from old. I don't know if y'all teachers teach that. They may. They more than likely, there's some great teachers out there that y'all are learning from. They probably taught that. And it sounds foreign and it sounds crazy to hear it. Wait, I thought this was solely, well, everything from the beginning is from the Most High. But there still was some influence that was there, what Moshe was bringing to the people. There was some influence there, a little bit. Let's keep going. Where am I at? So this is what I wrote on that post. Said many things that were cultural concepts, practices, and ideas that they knew that we today tend not to know or see the pattern. And the church fathers and modern leaders stuck in Roman Catholicism theology mislead the people with because they don't know or care for the cultural understanding of Bnei Israel. So let's begin. That's what I said in the post. One of the things that Yehoshua or Yahusha said according to the text is, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do. And greater works than these will they do, because I am going to the Father. I said, this is what all righteous teachers and righteous students. Now, granted, I want to say this because I know I have a few people that's going to be watching this. I'm attempting to bring balance of cultural understanding. I'm not here to say what something is or what something isn't, who someone is or who someone isn't. That's not my care. I really don't care about that. I care about being righteous and bringing forth what thus says the Most High, just like any man and woman of the Most High did. Any man and woman of the Most High did. I care about bringing culture and bringing that foundation back to bring us back to what we're supposed to do, just like any man or woman did. But what I need to do is bring this textual understanding to the people so they can understand what all the consistent nature of any man and woman was of the Most High and how they move. Now, I gave y'all elements earlier with like Elijah and Elisha, Eli and Samuel, all these individuals. It's the same concept. Let's keep going. He says, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father, right? Remember, Eliyahu went to the Father. Elijah went to the Father. This is all what all righteous teachers and righteous students understand in our culture. Examples are Eli, I said this already, Eli and Samuel. Samuel was greater, but stood on Eli's shoulders and learned. Moshe and Yehoshua. Yehoshua was greater in obedience than Moshe, but he stood on Moshe's shoulders, learned from him, studied him. Elijah and Elisha. Elijah was phenomenal, but Elisha received a double portion of Elijah's spirit, doing extreme works greater than Elijah, and spoke in authority, even so much so that the miraculous things that took place without even mentioning Yah's name. He didn't even mention Yah's name, y'all. He was doing those miraculous things. If not the entire time, most of the times, this was Elisha or Elisha, however you may say it, and so forth and so on. Our culture is to teach men and women to know what we know, to learn to walk in righteous confidence and faithfulness / consistency, to be one with the Father, the Most High, Yahweh Sabaoth. He also said, the glory that you have given me, I have given them, that they may be one even as we are one. I and them and you and me, that they may become perfectly, that's that word, one, so that the world may know that you sent me and love them even as you love me. Now we need to study on what that world means in the context. I'm not going to go on that today. Of course, we are supposed to be a light to every nation, but what world is he talking about in this context? So watch this. Remember, Moshe didn't believe that the children of Israel would believe that he was sent either. Wait a minute, what you mean? Why am I saying either? Because if you was really listening to Yahusha and what he said, it was an element of what he was saying. Please give them the glory. Please show them so they know. So he's talking to the Father. So to bring out, please let them see that I'm within you. Let them know. Let them know. Moshe did that too. Moses said, they ain't gonna believe me. Can you give me something? Can you show me this? Gave him 2 examples, and he still was doubting. So his belief was a little smaller than him a little bit, but the same concept was there. Let's keep reading. So remember, Moshe didn't believe that the children, I just read that, would believe that he was sent either. So he asked and pleaded with the Most High to give him a sign to show them this is Yehoshua ben Yosef praying the same way, but just in more confidence than Moshe at the time. We're going to have people that have more confidence today. Teachers, there's going to be more teachers, and some can be more confident than others. I'm very confident in what I'm bringing out to you all. Extremely, due to the cultural understanding, the pre-exilic nature. I'm very confident that I'm not wrong in this. I'm very confident as to what the church fathers did. I brought up Ebionites earlier. How they waited till the last Hebrew was gone before they started putting this ideology out there that would be embedded in our minds as to how to view any man or woman of the Most High, especially who we call Yahusha. It's 11:37. I'm almost done. It's like 2 more paragraphs. Where am I at? So what glory is he given that he wants them to have? This is the glory, y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for what the glory is? Authority. Authority is that glory. Authority, meaning they weren't there in their understanding of the authority that Yah gives us if we are serving him in sincerity and faithfulness. He then says, whatever you ask in my name, this I will do. Anything that, so watch this, anything that aligns with his authority that the Father gave and his character, he will do. So if it wasn't in alignment, so guess what? When you all are asking in his name, you're really just asking the Most High and the authority in which he came. But anything that you ask won't happen if it doesn't align with the authority and the character in which the Most High wants us to operate within. But see, we're reading what he's saying, deifying it, mystifying it, and not understanding the culture. What I just said, what he said is the same thing that goes back to the Tanakh days. They couldn't do or make something come about without that individual that's asking for it to move in a certain way. It did not happen. It had to be something that was done consistent, that was connected to what the Most High desired for it to be granted. All right. Closing out. Okay, where am I at? This is common in our culture. Wait, he then says whatever. Okay, yeah, this is common in our culture. We can do anything for others, or we can do anything for others' requests, if that makes sense. As long as it is, I just said this, as long as it is righteous. If not, we must remove ourselves from it and don't allow that request. Then he says, but the Ruach, or the Spirit, or the Comforter, whatever you want to call, whom the Father will send in my authority, not my name, in my authority, he will teach you all the things and bring to remembrance. Remembrance is the key, y'all. So when someone say, man, the Spirit is telling me blah, 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 if you ain't keeping the things or understanding or remembering what was before, that Spirit is not the Most High telling you anything. You're just like that elder that was with Eob when the elder had told Eob that a spirit came to him and said that he does not trust his servants. Wait a minute. The Most High just said prior to the elder that he does trust his servants. You're just like that prophet that came to the man of Elohim and said, you could come. The Most High told me you can. But now the man of Elohim is dead, unalive, because he listened to someone that was claiming they was being moved by the Spirit. So the Spirit ain't in you if you ain't going off of remembrance. That's what Christians do because of what the Christian church taught them. You just called on a name. The Spirit is here now. That's not the understanding. I'm almost done, man. We're running late. Luckily, I just got to get up and go. Um, where am I at? Okay. First off, to bring to remembrance means you have to have had knowledge prior, but that is another topic. The authority that any messenger had was given by Yahweh Sabaoth only and simply because they trusted in Yah and serve in sincerity and faithfulness. The reason why anyone, and guess what? I'm gonna bring out because you brought this out, Achot Valaya, when you said that you haven't done greater. I got it. I don't agree fully on that. I get you. I get it. Like, we're hard on ourselves. But the part that I want to bring out is that the authority is given to people that are sincere and they're consistent faithfulness. They're faithful. That's when the authority comes. If you're not that, 9 times out of 10 is not. There's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, this is how it has to be. This is the operation. Okay, I got like 4 sentences left. This is the key, and they were constant in communication with the Most High in speech, prayer, and fasting. You see what He is trying to convey to us and them, the disciples, at that time is you all have lost the righteous cultural understanding and connection to Yah. So I am sent. Guess what? Remember the prophets. The prophets were sent because they have lost, right? The righteous cultural understanding and connection to Yah. Every messenger of the Most High is doing the same thing. So I am sent like everyone else that has been sent to rectify and bring you back to the righteous, uncommon understanding that you have the ability to gain the same authority that I have. And you will do greater if you do it, by the way. You will do greater because this is our cultural norm to those who understand. The Father tells us to be ye set apart as I am set apart. We are to be like the Most High. We are to be blameless and work towards it daily. It is more possible than we believe, for our forefathers and foremothers understood this. The righteous ones did. And with that, I yield. They understood this. We have to understand it. We have to get back to the pre-exilic understanding of our path. This doesn't mean do not read any literature that comes after that, because guess what? That means you can't read the books I wrote. You can't read the books I wrote if I'm saying that. What I'm saying is you have to understand what's the influence, what's the things, the subjects, the topics that is just truly influence more than anything that's shifting and shaping you to not understand the cultural path. So with that, I yield you all. May the Most High bless and guard you. Perfect people, make some noise. That's the name of the title. The title. All credit go to my Isha on that. Perfect people, make some noise. Blameless people, make some noise. We need to teach people to be that. We need to teach people that you can be that. We need to teach people that are consistent and we don't see any fault in them, see any fault in them, that they are that. We don't know what no one's thinking. I understand the other scripture, I don't call that scripture, by the way, the other epistles and letters and stuff that's said. That doesn't mean everything is right that's said, y'all. The foundation that we know is right is thus says the Most High without a shadow of a doubt. Everything else is things that can be applicable to your life to make you a better person and bring you closer to the Most High. Or it won't. But if you always want to be right, always go to the source, to the foundation. And once you figure it out and you get that down, become one of the people that are teaching the people, because that's what we're supposed to do. We can be sinless. That has been in our culture forever, even now. Don't let nobody teach you different. And if you do, that's up to you. May the Most High bless and guard you all. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. If you have any questions, you can email us. You can comment here below, or you can email us at houseofbalance12@gmail.com. If you want to do any donations after Shabbat, you can donate on our Zelle, houseofbalance12@gmail.com, or you can donate at houseofbalance12 on Cash App as well. All right. And if you don't, we just appreciate you being here. And it's something that we hope that we provoke thought and change towards serving the Most High. All right. Shalom, shalom.
I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I see a dream, that dream is green. And I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man. As we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights. As we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we want to see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more failing, telling, being beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I wasn't part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. Oh, and if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising.